Alright, let's talk about this. No, not the fact that Dodrio has 3 hats. That's still huge news. Each one is a different hat. What I want to talk about is this guy. The guy I am holding in my hands right here on my profile card. Profile card? Trainer Snapshot. Jake, your resident content cowboy here, yeehaw, and today I want to talk to you about something that I have to be honest, I kind of truly hate. I feel bad saying it, and I don't want to just contribute a ton of negativity towards anything. I'm very conscious of that on my channel, that I'm not just trying to go, this sucks, this Pokemon's bad, oh my gosh, but I have to be honest with you and say that I think what they have done with Sableye is honestly not a net positive for the game. Let me talk to you about why I think that. I'll dispel some of the thoughts that might come up first and possibly come up with some solutions to this Pokemon that I truly think hurts the game and probably not in the way you expect. First off, let me say that picking Sableye is not a 100% win. I recognize this isn't the highest win rate Pokemon or anything like that. Yes, there are strategies to counter this, and people have come up with some ideas of items and different Pokemon that you could put into the game to counter Sableye. All that is well and good, and I'm not saying it's not well intentioned. In fact, I'll show you some cool stuff that I saw the community talk about when I posted a tweet about this. This tweet here, let's talk about the problem with Sableye. Oh, what's the problem with Sableye? It's such a difficult Pokemon to play against because it's not fun. First, let's talk about what this Pokemon does inside of a match of Pokemon Unite. Sableye can run across the entire map faster than any Pokemon in the game and invade a jungle at level 1. This is something that's being used competitively when it's not banned out, which we'll talk about bans at some point. This is something being used competitively, and it's something that essentially this Pokemon doesn't get punished for at all. It can run across the map, fight you over wild Pokemon, and it's really hard to deal with because it actually does a lot of burst damage, and when it hits you, it fears you, so it gives it the ability to secure some of this wild Pokemon. So now you have to commit resources from your team to go and run over and try to help it. And it's not the only Pokemon that does this, but it's the most egregious at doing this. Greedent can do it, Snorlax can do it. There are other Pokemon that can jungle invade. Jungle invading is pretty eye-rolly in general, just because when you're playing outside of a coordinated environment, good luck on getting your teams to rotate on over to you. But Sableye does this in such a bananas way where it's essentially unpunished because it doesn't need a lot of early experience. So just having an experience share on it and the fact that it's going to become invisible and walk away means that it really gets to do that and harass most all central area Pokemon. And even if you beat it, even if you push it away, you really lost nothing for doing it. It's one of the biggest problems. It doesn't hurt you at all, essentially, if you even jungle invade and it doesn't work out. Now let's talk about what you get from it. You can take the enemy's buffs, you can slow down their jungling, you can KO them, you can basically put the enemy jungler in a position where it can't reach the level of your jungler, or vice versa if Sableye's on the other team. And if you're playing solo, even duo, trio, sometimes it's really hard to prioritize getting someone out over into that central area. And now we're kind of coming back to the central theory of everything with Sableye, which is this is not very fun to deal with. I just have to be honest, it's not that fun to deal with it. There are certain Pokemon that you think, oh, this is hard to fight, this is tough. I don't love seeing a high-level Tyranitar with a Blissey there, without question, right? But I don't think any Pokemon feels as unfun as Sableye does to deal with. The constant stuns, the constant being confused, being sent back to base, all of these things are incredible strategically for that Sableye. However, for you playing the game, it's really, it's just a real bummer. But the problem is it can hit you coming out of this invisibility, turn right back around, and just become invisible again. Once again, never punished. This Pokemon just never ever gets punished for anything it does. Doesn't mean it wins the match. It just happens to never get punished. However, it makes it so you can't play the game. You're a Cinderace, it runs at you, it hits you, you're feared, it turns invisible again, it hits you, you're feared, it hits you with Confuse Ray, you just can't play. And again, I'm not saying that there aren't strategies around fighting this. What I am saying is this loop in combat is really, really, really not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun to fight against. It just makes the game so dreadful, dull, dismal, dreary, other synonyms. I mean, it's just, you know, I hate to say it, but it really is so eye-rolly to see one on the enemy team. When I see a Delphox on the other team, I know that it can be very, very good. And I understand strategically what that Delphox is going to do. They're going to fire fireballs and zip around the map and throw its amazing Unite move. The counterplay to Delphox doesn't feel as heartbreaking as the counterplay to Sableye, which just kind of feels bad. It just feels bad to play against. And I don't know how many people would disagree with this. Honestly, and I would love to hear from you in the comments. Do you have fun not playing Sableye? Because honestly, playing Sableye, it's a troll. It can be pretty fun. Do you have fun playing against a Sableye? I feel like it is just... it just makes me not want to play that much because it doesn't let you play that much. So now, all match, you have to try to strategically play around a Pokemon that's stopping you from playing. And the strategies you hear for countering it are, have one on your team, or run this specific build, or they should invent an item that lets you see invisible things. And I'm not saying any of these things are untrue. I'm just saying... that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks that our solution is, well, what if I do this one specific thing every single time because I have to deal with this Pokemon? No, I don't think that's a good solution. I think they need to change this Pokemon. So outside of adding new mechanics to Pokemon Unite, what do I think they should do? Pick and ban inside the game. Maybe even get rid of pick, but just ban. Let both teams ban a Pokemon. And I don't care if they ban out my favorite Pokemon every game. Just let me ban out this one that is so boring to fight. The next thing they could do is make it so Sableye can continue to do what it does, but it at least needs to get punished. So if you hit Sableye while it's invisible, its invisibility should pop right off, and you should be able to take this Pokemon and not have it continue to do any of its effects to you. They actually need to nerf this Pokemon probably in multiple ways, and in a weird way, probably buff its knockoff build so that build is at least more interesting for people. But in general, you have to be able to punish this Pokemon. And one of the biggest problems with Sableye is it's just unpunished. Everything it does, it can do and get away with all of it. And because of that, it stays around the battlefield forever, continuing to do what it does. If Sableye had to be at least a little more strategic in some of its moves, and it knew if it got caught, it was in a lot of trouble, then maybe counterplay to Sableye wouldn't feel as horrible. Again, I don't want to make a video just complaining. I really try to not make content where I'm just saying, things are bad. But I have to say that this Pokemon is just, yeah, really unfun. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. More cool stuff coming soon. I love you. Ban Sableye.